T-Mobile gives you more ways than ever to get out there with America's largest 5G network and the epic iPhone 12 with 5G on us. Whether you're hitting the road,
check out this great 4K video. I even posted it with 5G way out here.
or getting the team together. Right now, current and new customers get up to 4 iPhone 12s on us on our Max plan with eligible trade-ins. Only at T-Mobile.
Each phone on us via 24 credits plus tax for well-qualified buyers. If you cancel credit, stop and balance on required finance agreements may be due. Contact us. See 5G coverage, access, and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch. They have licensed agents available 24/7 online or over the phone.
But if it's so easy, you might start thinking everything is easy, even big wave surfing. And it's not. It's actually quite difficult.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance. And you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might lead you to make some questionable purchases, like a 20-foot feather boa. And do you know how hard it is to clean a 20-foot feather boa?
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver.
But when life gets a little easier, it makes you too confident, and you start calling everyone Ace. And you're better than that.
Well, Geico has a 97% customer satisfaction rating and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
I'm Baratunde Thurston, host of Force Multiplier, a new podcast dropping August 12th about leveling up the impact we can have on the world through our relationships. Whether we're talking about health inequity, nutrition insecurity, or racism, we're facing unprecedented challenges that require unprecedented collaboration across disciplines and sectors. Join me as I sit with leaders from across the public, private, and nonprofit worlds who are forging partnerships to take action on some of the toughest challenges facing us today. Welcome to Force Multiplier, an iHeartRadio original podcast with Salesforce.org. Let's change the world, one relationship at a time. Listen to Force Multiplier on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to the Best of the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon podcast. Be sure to catch us live every weeknight from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, 7 to 11 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio. Find your local station for the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon at foxsportsradio.com or stream us live every night on the iHeartRadio app by searching FSR.
This is the Best of the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon on Fox Sports Radio.
Greetings and welcome inside the Jason Smith Show with my best friend Mike Harmon.
Oh!
It's been a week since we heard that. I hate that song. That means Alex Tyshirt is back on the ones and twos.
He's been gone like a month.
I know. It's like he's bought because he got to go to Colin's show. I got to work on Colin's show. I'm sorry. I got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go work on Colin's show. But now he's back. Everybody's back. The Olympics are rolling. We're feeling pretty good.
Not too bad. You had Victor Robles had a praying mantis on his hat while he played the outfield. I mean, there's lots of craziness going on. Oh, and that whole NBA free agency thing.
Yeah, it is one of those nights as we have a big load of Olympic stuff to bring to you. Obviously, we have the United States basketball team playing in a couple of hours, which is going to be awesome on in our window here on the show. But in addition to that going on, clearly, hey, today was a day where we saw without a shadow of a doubt the Knicks are going to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, baby. Whoa, the Knicks are bringing everybody back. They got Evan Fournier. Here come the Knicks, man.
Bulls
Fournier's
have better
exactly
guard play. You're
need,
in trouble
buddy.
now, pal.
Woo, I'm excited. But listen, hey, I have a pretty good track record of predicting who's going to the Eastern Conference Finals. When I say the Knicks are going, the Knicks are going.
Yeah, but over the course of a season, don't you normally pick 10 of the teams?
No, stop. That is fake news. You are fake news. That is not,
maybe 12?
That is not true at all.
I forget.
No, that is not true.
I think you picked everybody but the Bulls this year.
No. Well, and you know what? Hey, I got to say, I was going to say nice things about the Bulls, but now blank you. How about that?
No, that's a good way to start a Monday. Good. I would expect nothing less from you as the backcourt of Ball and Caruso is reunited. And it feels, whoa, so good.
Hey, now, before we get to all the big free agency stuff from tonight, yes, the Bulls bring in Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. Okay, Lonzo Ball I like. Alex Caruso, I don't know what Twitter is going to do late at night, because every time he played for the Lakers, Alex Caruso was the #1 trending topic in the world, and it passed understanding why. Now I don't know what's going to happen late at night. I don't know what people are going to tweet about late at night during the winter months now when the Lakers are by. Then there's no Alex Caruso. Maybe they're going to tweet about Ellington and Dwight Howard, but it's not going to be Caruso anymore. That's the big thing, Mike. That's a huge void in our social media lives.
Well, you and I will just have to fill that void with lots of hot take theater. And nightly nonsense. I mean, there's no question about it. But yeah, the Caruso, I think is actually a pretty big loss for them in terms of the process. Not just for our content purposes, but just rotational and defensively. He's a guy. He's a bulldog. So in Chicago, they'll be happy to have him. He'll become a fan favorite immediately.
Look, and I'm on board. I mean, I know it sounds crazy because of all the stuff I've said about Lonzo Ball the past few years. Yeah, I get it. But I got to give the guy credit, right? He's going to the Bulls for $85 million. I love this move by Chicago, all right? I like what he has done. Getting out of L.A. was the best thing for him. He had to realize that, okay, I'm in New Orleans. No one is coming to my rescue. I got to fight my way out of this and get to a destination where I really want to go. And that turned out to be the best thing for him because he was made a star before he earned it in Los Angeles, right? When you have your introductory press conference and it's, hey, I expect your jersey to be hanging from the rafters and LeVar Ball is going to say whatever the hell he wants to because I got a huge asset here, it was made to fail. All right, Lonzo with the Lakers was made to fail because he was made a star before he earned it. And anybody that happens to, they have a very short shelf life. And I thought, okay, here goes Lonzo. He might be out of the league in like 3 or 4 years. But I give the guy a ton of credit because he's done everything he needed to do to improve, right? He worked on his jump shot to now it looks really good. He's changed it. He knew I have to do this to succeed and stay in the league and be a star. And he did it. All the stuff we say, well, Ben Simmons, is he really going to do this? I don't know if Ben Simmons can do it. Oh, you're going to trade Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons says he's going to dedicate himself to getting better and better. I know Lonzo Ball has done it. All right, because you see him in his workout videos now, and he's a completely different player when you talk about his shooting, his range, where he can hit from when he came into the league a couple of years ago. This was a big deal for him, and I got to give credit to guys that say, I know what I need to do. I need to improve. I'm doing it. He was never someone that made you see, hey, look at what I'm doing. Look at all these videos. No, he went out and said, I need to do this. I need to change my shooting stroke and be able to get the ball off more. I need to be able to hit some threes. I was really terrible in the bubble. I need to do something different. And he came back, and he was terrific. And I give him a lot of credit for that. So much so that if the Knicks signed him, I wasn't going to be upset. I mean, now, if I know the Knicks are going to sign him, not upset, I'm going to be pretty happy about that. So no, I'm telling you the truth about Lonzo Ball, buddy.
No, exactly. I mean, the biggest loss is that the Pelicans get nothing, out of the deal. He just walks.
Well, that's free agency.
In terms of, any kind of true value, right? Sign and trade, I get it, but you're not getting back any assets that are pushing you up the Western Conference. Let's just call it what it is. But when we look at Lonzo Ball, still a lot of room to work on his shooting. Remember, he's only going to be 24 years old at the end of October. Right? Late October birthday, 14.6 a game, 4.8 rebounds a game, almost 6 assists. And obviously they put the ball in Zion Williamson's hands a lot and missed time. That's the one thing that you just kind of circle is, all right, is he going to be able to get through a season? Right? 55 games this last year and go all the way through his career. But working to improve his jump shot, still at 41%, still room for improvement there, is willing to take a three. I'll take that over what you have with Ben Simmons. And yes, Simmons is a better defender, but Ball's gotten pretty good in that regard. So I think all in, it's a big step forward for the Bulls is the try, right? That's all you ask out of your marketplace. And I speak as a Chicagoan, transplanted here to Los Angeles. Like, you just want your team to be active and actually look like they're trying to strive towards a goal as opposed to running in place, right? Because you can move things around and move pieces around and spend money, but you could spend money terribly. At this point, Lonzo Ball looks like he's still got a higher ceiling to reach. So perhaps this will be the next stop. And again, Bulls fans are looking for somebody to embrace. So bringing in these two guards today is a big move.
Awesome move. Love it, love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it for the Bulls. Your Bulls, buddy. I dig that about you. I dig that about you. Now, Zach LaVine, let's see it. But I love what they did today. A couple of really big moves there. And Lonzo, like I said, not many guys can do that. Not many guys will say, I need to get in the gym and do it. They will rely on their basketball acumen up until now. They'll rely on their athleticism and think, I'm just not being dealt with the right way. No, he knew what he had to do, and he went and did it. And that was awesome. Now, listen, it's still going to be a ways for you to go looking up to the top of the Eastern Conference where the Knicks are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals next year. Okay?
Look at you.
Yeah.
Go get that wager in now, buddy.
This is a bittersweet time for me right now, all right? Because, listen, I'll tell you everything about the Knicks. This is going to be the best year for the Knicks of the Tom Thibodeau era. Right? That's both good and bad. Well, okay, great. Because after this year, this is what happens with Thibodeau. We talked about it, that after a few years, he winds up grading on the team, and they have to figure out a way to move on. And I always said to you, what did I say to you? I'll figure that out after 3 years when we're in the playoffs a couple of times. Hey, first year was great. We were in the playoffs. It was awesome. Right. This is going to be the big year for the Knicks. Because after this, it's going to be, how do we keep this going? It's such a mental drain and strain to be able to have to exist every single night on defense and playing that kind of effort defensively in the regular season to win games. But this is the year for it because they have had great success. They fell short in the playoffs. Now, let's fill a hole, which they did. Look, they brought back Derrick Rose today, right? They brought back Nerlens Noel today. They brought back Alec Burks. They signed Evan Fournier, who's going to be huge for them. He's exactly what they need, a guy that can score from the outside and take the shooting onus off of Derrick Rose a little bit and off of Julius Randle. They needed somebody to be able to make shots like that. They weren't going to get a star, because that's not what this team is made for. Tom Thibodeau is not going to bring in a star that he's going to fight with, right? His biggest star is going to be someone that's going to buy into what he's doing, which is why a guy like Julius Randle, that's his biggest star as the Knicks are going to have while Tom Thibodeau is coaching, because he made Randle a star. So, of course, Randle is beholden to him. You bring in somebody like Damian Lillard or a big star. Hey, I'd have been excited doing backflips, but if something happens and it's Damian Lillard versus Tom Thibodeau, well, who's going to win that battle? And things are going to fall apart. So Thibodeau is very much, this is my domain kind of guy. And anytime someone he has been at odds with, Jimmy Butler, anytime he's been at odds with somebody, there has been some kind of very public divorce. So they weren't going to ever go get a really big player. They needed to go get something big like Evan Fournier and bring back the core of this team, and they brought back the right players. It's going to be less minutes now for Derrick Rose. It'll be, Fournier will eat into those minutes a little bit, and they brought back guys that are fitting into this system really well. And to go from 41 wins now, it's going to be a 50-win team next year. This is the Knicks' year. This is it. Eastern Conference Finals for them. This is their best year. Because then after this year, it's another year at Thibodeau, and then it's okay. It's a lot of defense. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of just too much, and I need to move on. And that's when things get a little crazy. But this is going to be the big year for the Knicks, and I am there for their 2022 Eastern Conference Finals banner that they're going to be able to hang at the end of this season.
You're so excited. Obviously, we're looking at what the Miami Heat have done. I've got this long list of giant dollar amounts. Just, makes me tear up a little bit to see the flow of cash like this, Smith. Let me tell you, I love merchandising and selling, and obviously commerce is so important to what we do here on the show. Yeah, it's great box score reading, but let's call it what it is. It's all dollars and cents and money moving around and plenty of it flowing. So the Heat are interesting. The Bulls, make your moves. But for your New York Knicks, yeah, the time is now, right? You brought back all your key contributors, and you're hoping that it wasn't a short-term resurgence for Derrick Rose. Right, that there's still more there, that Julius Randle can get past what was an awful, awful playoff series. Can we just say that? Can I say that one more time? Awful playoff series. But bringing in reinforcements, and you got guys, it just remains to be seen how long the Thibodeau mentality and that approach works. You got enough young guys that I think will still buy into it, guys that are still trying to prove themselves, both as veterans, Derrick Rose, who he's got a relationship going on all these years, and your guy, Julius Randle. Again, he's got more to prove, right? Great year last year. That's great. That's step one. Go back and do it again. Become consistent. And Emmanuel Quickley and all these guys, you've got room to grow in the Eastern Conference. You were fourth, and you just cobbled together a squad and had to have guys buy in. Yeah, it was a pretty good run. I'm curious to see part 2 and whether April in a regular season, of the extra 10 games, whether that's enough for the off the cliff because now you're tired. We'll see. Because they don't have any load management guys there, Smith. You needed one of those guys that were going to take a couple of days off, let the kids play, whatever else. No. Now it's 30, 36, 40 hard minutes a night. So let's see what you got.
I'm all right. This year, I'm just worried about this. This will be the glorious year of the Knicks. Then things will start to fall apart. But this is going to be it. Fournier is exactly what they need. He's exactly what they need.
You're just so funny.
It's awesome.
Hey, I'm getting 1 year, and then it's going to hell.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, but I'll take that. It's okay. Give me one great year, and even if it's not the NBA, it's the East Finals, I can walk around going, go New York, go.
Are you going to go jump on cars like they did making it to the first round this last year?
Oh, are you kidding? We're gonna, as soon as the opening tip comes, I'm gonna jump on top of a car and scream. I might cut it in half with a chainsaw, like in Any Given Sunday, right down the middle. I might do that.
Yeah, you could jump on a rock, with that heavy breath like Franco Columbo in Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, that's right. It was Franco Columbo, Arnold's buddy.
Here come the Knicks, Eastern Conference Finals. But, buddy, I love Lonzo Ball. Look what the Heat did. We'll get to that coming up in a bit because that was a really big deal today. Look, teams are being smart in free agency. Some are just spending money like, hey, if I don't spend it, it's going to go like my dad when he gets like $20. Oh, I got to go. I got to spend this.
Government's going to take it. I got to get rid of it.
Twitter at How About a Fresca, Mike at Swollen Dome, the Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon.
Be sure to catch live editions of The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon weekdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change. Like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Are you One Tree Hill obsessed? Are Brooke, Peyton, and Haley your BFF goals? Join Sophia Bush, Hillary Burton, and Bethany Joy Lenz on the Drama Queens podcast to relive, relove, and rewatch every One Tree Hill minute.
There are no fans like One Tree Hill fans. There is no family like our family. So we got together to do a rewatch podcast to relive the show as so many of you have.
Each week, Sophia, Hillary, and Bethany Joy dissect every episode and deliver every must-know detail.
I feel like it's a walk down memory lane that also might be a little bit of a stumble down memory lane.
I mean, we'll have cocktails sometimes, so we might leave stumbling.
Mm-hmm. I'm good with that.
The ups, the downs, the loves, the losses. Experience One Tree Hill all over again.
There's so much cool stuff to imagine for them. But before we can go forward, we gotta go back to the beginning.
You nailed it.
Listen to Drama Queens on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Have you been to Express lately? People can't get enough of their clothes. They're like instant confidence boosters. The jeans come in a temp control fabric that keeps you comfortable no matter the weather. And the t-shirts, hands down, they'll feel like they're made of the softest fabric you've ever worn. And get this, the suits have stretch and look sharp. Like, what? How do they do that? Everyone's raving about the newest looks from Express. Just check out the 5-star reviews. See for yourself and shop the latest at express.com and in stores.
We're going to welcome a guest joining us now from Tokyo, who now he and I have more in common than you could possibly imagine. He is joining us now from Tokyo on his 40th birthday. You ready, Harmon? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, you old man.
Happy birthday
Dan
from
Woike
Jason and Dikembe Mutombo.
On Twitter, LA Times and
Can I finish?
Insider. Happy birthday to you.
Are you going to let me finish my statement or not?
Happy birthday, Dan.
Hey, buddy.
Woike.
Guys, I am so touched. That is, I feel the love from across the Pacific.
There you go. Giant pile of Portillo's when you come back, buddy.
Amazing. A wonderful gift. And then I would also say, too, as a second gift, you guys know this, when I tell people I cover the league, I'm not talking about the NBA. I'm generally talking about the band Human League. So I appreciate the intro music too.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
You know, I also
big day for the league. Big day for the league.
I also celebrated my 40th birthday on the air, doing a radio show. That you and I have more in common than you can possibly know. I don't think I played the Human League that night on the show, but we both spent our 40th birthdays working and being on the air.
Yeah, no. So it's weird because it's actually, my birthday was yesterday in Japan, but it's today in America. So it has been like a 2 birthday thing. I feel like I'm like 14 again, and where you get to if your birthday's on the weekend, you get to bring the treats to school. Maybe not 14, more like 9. But you bring the treats to school.
Different treats.
You bring the cupcakes. Yeah, you bring the cupcakes. Maybe you have a weekend party later. It's like you get to celebrate a whole bunch of different times. So I'm soaking it in. This is like my super sweet 16.
You didn't call LA Times, did you? Everybody you're covering the Olympics for, and say, "Hey, I need tomorrow off. It's my birthday."
Yeah, give me a day off to do what?
What is he, 12? Come on.
I would also, yeah.
Do your job.
I'm saying, how about sightseeing in Tokyo? That's what I'd say he'd want to do.
So I'm actually not allowed to do that yet. I think I'm 2 days away from being sprung on that.
Okay.
But it's I'm just kind of parked at the Saitama Super Arena. It's an amazing name of a building. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe if Spain wins, maybe I will have time to sightsee. Who knows?
Yeah, we're done. We're pulling the plug. We're going home. Spain wins. We're going home. We're going home, everybody. Now, before we get to that, look, obviously a huge day in NBA free agency. What's the deal you like the most of all the big deals we saw? And look, you can say Evan Fournier to the Knicks if you want to. But what's the deal you like the most that you saw today?
Oh, man. I think, outside of obviously, the extensions and stuff like that, look, word just came in on Otto Porter for the minimum to the Warriors, which seems like a nice, kind of value signing for a team that, could be pretty good if things work out for them. I like Caruso to the Bulls. That to me, for a team that's going to be a little soft defensively in the front court, you need to have really good defensive guards. And I think with Lonzo Ball and Caruso, you've got 2 really good ones. I don't know how much that moves your ceiling. You're kind of in that weird position where it's you're going to be fighting for the 5th seed. So, I guess that's good. But yeah, no, it's funny. I come out of today mostly just sort of confused about everything moving forwards. I think I still feel like the Nets are going to enter next season as the favorites. They probably should. But then I look at the Western Conference guys, and it's just sort of I'm not crazy about what's happened with the Lakers so far. It doesn't really feel like their formula has changed much, which is sort of at this point. Hope that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are both healthy, and if they are, don't worry about conventional roster construction, because if they're healthy, those 2 guys can make up for just about anything else. That seems to be the plan. Obviously, the Clippers don't have Kawhi Leonard, so it's sort of what's their ceiling? It's kind of, I'm kind of left to sort of shrug my shoulders right now in the West. It's hard to know, who the big winners are. I like Kyle Lowry to Miami. I think that's a really good win now move, and I think the Heat should be kind of back in position to be a contender for the Eastern Conference title with the Nets. Other than that, though, guys, it's I don't know. Kind of to me, it all feels sort of chalk mostly.
And Chris Paul upping the career earnings to $450 million with a few more years on his deal with the Suns. Is that just a contract that starts to move as we go year to year to other teams?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of those things that kind of, you have to do in the sort of aftermath of what happened last season. And, you deal with it down the road a little bit. I'm not surprised he's back. I never really bought, the Knicks rumblings or the Pelicans stuff. I think the Lakers were maybe an option for him at some point in this, but it's, getting it done with the salary cap was virtually impossible without him taking a big pay cut. And so, I think one of the things, guys, that I'm really surprised with, at least on the Lakers front, is kind of, the market drying up on Dennis Schroeder is really interesting.
That's Magic's fault, Dan. As soon as he called him a bum in the playoffs, that was it.
I mean, to me, it's weirdly, and I'm telling you, I don't think this is happening. I don't have indications that this is happening. It would be a way to sort of salvage, like, the Caruso thing is if you end up giving the Caruso contract to Dennis Schroeder. The Lakers, like, that's maybe one way out of this where it feels a little bit better. But I'll say this. I hated the Lakers offseason 2 years ago. Hated is maybe a strong word. It didn't feel like a smart offseason. And they won a title. I think last year made a little more sense, and they lost in the first round. So, this stuff is all a total crapshoot. It just, I think, in the immediacy, you kind of look at it, and it's sort of like, it seems weird to be shopping from a pool only of players who know all the words to Randy Newman's I Love L.A. I think you'd want to expand. Like, just because they have the garage code, you don't have to invite them back in the house. And, like, that's been, like, kind of the weird thing with sort of the Laker offseason today, at least.
Well, and I feel bad, Dan. I feel you're being too hard on things because I get that you're 40 and you're now officially too old to play for the Lakers because the oldest
I don't have time for this.
The oldest you can be is 36, right? That clearly they're okay with signing a lot of 36-year-olds, but over that you can't play there anymore.
I mean, it's like I get it, right? Like it's like you when you sign LeBron James. And that is the direction you go. Like, you are on the clock, right? And every year you don't win is a wasted year. They are going to be very old next season. Very, very old. And they're going to be very old a year after they were very injured and had some bad luck. And, like, one of the ways you can kind of mitigate some of that luck is by being younger. And they're going to need to have really good luck next year. There's no way around it. This is going to be an old basketball team. They're less athletic than they were a year ago, despite having Russell Westbrook, who is like a total freak athlete. But, I don't think their shooting additions make up for the defensive losses, and they lost a lot on defense. We'll see what they do kind of in the vet market. We'll see if they can, look, I mean, I think like Patty Mills would be a nice addition. You know what I mean? Like if they can get him, if Rudy Gay is somebody they can sign, like this stuff is all great. It just, none of this stuff feels like it's going to like completely solve or even partially solve some of the issues they've created for themselves. But then again, like, and this is sort of the joylessness of the situation, guys, is that like, if it really comes down to, again, just LeBron and Anthony Davis being healthy, then like what else matters?
Sure.
That's not that exciting to watch, and it's not that exciting to talk about. And that's sort of the box they painted themselves in, is like if those two things happen, like they feel really good about their chances, and if those two things don't happen, it's hard to imagine, if Wayne Ellington shoots 44% from three on 6 attempts a game, like it's not going to make that big of a difference.
I just celebrate Russell Westbrook's entire catalog. I do appreciate on Twitter at Dan Woike Sports, live from Tokyo, covering the Olympic Games, getting ready for the United States men's basketball team. I do like that 2 hours ago you did put the Swaggy P. Might as well, ... Nicely done.
Thank you. I
Bring it back.
knew what my mentions would be. I knew what my mentions would be if it was a picture of Jeremy Lin. So I went with the safer route on former Laker guards. Look, I think the Ariza signing is a nice signing. I think he'll help them. They do need guys like that. But Trevor Ariza is like 36. If they sign Carmelo Anthony, like Carmelo Anthony's been a pretty good role player as a shooter these last couple of years. Carmelo Anthony is, I don't know what, probably 36, 37 years old, something like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like, these are the kinds of bets I think you make on one or two guys, and the Lakers are going to make them on 6 or 7. A couple years ago, it worked. This plan worked. Like, they hit on Avery Bradley. They hit on JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. They hit on Danny Green. I just don't feel like these are the same class of players. I just really don't. And I think if you put pen to paper and you look at sort of where their roster is today, it's like they've got some pretty big holes, and they don't have a lot of ammunition to fill them. That's sort of the challenge for them.
Dan Wojcicki with us from Tokyo, covering the Olympics, NBA insider. So now let's look ahead. We got United States and Spain coming up in a few minutes here. Clearly, it's been a rocky path for the big favorites in all of the Olympics, whether you're Simone Biles or the U.S. women's national team in soccer. Reason to be nervous tonight, or do you think it'll be a nice night for the United States?
Oh, I mean, I think reasons to be nervous for sure. The Spanish team is certainly capable of beating anybody. They're incredibly experienced. They have incredible continuity, a lot of things that the U.S. doesn't have. They're not as talented as they've been in the past. Obviously, I think if this was 4 years ago, Spain is a much tougher team to beat than they are today. But Ricky Rubio has been fantastic in this tournament, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the U.S. attacks him, if they can do it defensively. Obviously, a loss would be a disaster, I think, for the Americans. But I think, I don't think it'll be easy. I don't think anything's going to be easy for this team. They haven't really shown that throughout this tournament. So I'm expecting it to be a close-ish game. And when games are like that, things like hot shooting start to matter a lot more. And if it's just not your night shooting the ball, then, maybe you end up in trouble.
Yeah, we were talking about all these Laker veterans. At Dan Wojcicki Sports, Woike is the surname on Twitter. A post from 2 days ago, LATimes.com, about Pau Gasol. Hey, maybe he can come back for one more run with the Lakers as well. But did you go to Popovich and the players and just be like, all the kids with Babe Ruth and Paul O'Neill on Seinfeld saying, I need you to win for me today because it's my birthday?
Yeah, I told them. I said that if the amount of work that I will have to do if you lose is exponentially higher. So win one for the Gipper today, please. I beg of you. There's a nice clean. Let's get it done by about the third quarter. That would be most ideal. Look, man, I don't think I'd even get a happy birthday out of Greg Popovich if we're being totally honest.
Now that you have to ask him in the press conference, you have to get a question. Whenever your question, you have to say, "It's my birthday, so can you answer a question for me?" or something like that. I want to hear that from you.
Wojcicki, Los Angeles Times. Pop, it's my birthday. No question. Just comments on that. Can you talk about that?
That would be the best, buddy. You would live forever on that.
Can you talk about my birthday?
Can you talk about my birthday and the impact it had on tonight's win?
Yeah. I could have sworn I saw Damian Lillard look to the empty arena, to my seat in the press tribunal, and mouth the words 40 and Wash King. Hashtag Wash King.
And then he went out and scored 40 for you on your birthday.
Hey, we'll see if that happens, I might write it.
On Twitter, at Dan Wojcicki Sports, at Dan Wojcicki Sports. Birthday boy turning 40 in Tokyo. Again, United States and Spain coming up in a few minutes. We'll give you all the updates on that. Happy birthday, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy.
I was going to say, not a birthday boy. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Well played. Well played, Dan.
Oh, there goes D-Dub.
Be sure to catch live editions of The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon weekdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific.
From iHeartRadio and Tenderfoot TV comes a new podcast, Algorithm.
I was assigned to do a really interesting story, and I needed the Uniform Crime Report. Included on that CD was a file I had never heard of. What it was line after line of individual murders. The first thought I had was, could we teach a computer to identify connected cases, to find serial killings?
This is Algorithm, a podcast investigating a modern serial killer and how he could have been stopped. And it's a story with the potential to change how homicides are investigated all across the country.
I think the Gary Police Department should be looking at some of those old cases. They still may have a killer out there.
Listen to Algorithm now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.
Introducing Mordeo, a new iHeartRadio fiction thriller podcast from the creative minds of Blumhouse and Crypt TV. 1 month after two brothers disappear in the Shenandoah forest, the lone survivor of the pair emerges, starving, disoriented, and traumatized.
I can hear it. What are you talking about? It's in my head. It whispers to me. It says I'm gonna die out here.
What happened out there in the woods? And what dark secrets still remain, threatening to create something unspeakable?
Look at this skull. No way this thing is a deer, though. Look at the size of the teeth. Predator for sure.
Beware. The monster you're running from might be yourself.
This is what I am. This is what I'll become.
Listen to Mordeo on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Confession. I love Kathy comics. Kathy Geiswhite's comic strip chronicled middle-class American womanhood day by day for over 3 decades. And between Axe and Irving's came sharp commentary on women's struggles in the workplace, rampant Reagan-era consumerism, and predatory diet culture. So why don't we remember it that way? My name is Jamie Loftus, host of Lolita Podcast and My Year in Mensa, and I wanted to take a look back at Kathy Geiswhite's work, what it says about late 20th century America, what it doesn't say, and the criticism that came with being vulnerable in the newspaper on a daily basis. Spoiler alert, there is a ton to talk about. And yes, I am talking to Kathy Geiswhite herself. So listen to ACCast by Jamie Loftus, that's AACKCAST, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Fox Sports Radio, the Jason Smith Show with my best friend Mike Harmon.
Hey, buddy.
Right now, second quarter, Spain leads the United States 21-19. The quarterfinal match, the United States cannot win a gold medal if they lose this game. Right now, Kevin Durant leading the way with 7 points. Meanwhile, Ricky Rubio, who, let's face it, Olympic Ricky Rubio is so much better than NBA Ricky Rubio. He's got 13 for Spain right now, as Spain has a 2-point lead as they start the second quarter here in this one. It has been a tough go for the United States so far, and clearly Spain's not going to make it easy on them. This is going to be a game, Mike Harmon.
Well, you would expect it. I mean, after what we've seen in the prelims, they're not running away and hiding. They are a 12.5-point favorite, are the United States squad. But, you know, we haven't seen any really big – we've had one game. And that was a tight game until the third quarter, right? The last game they played wasn't a blowout until late. A lot of stressful moments. Then it was kind of a at my signal unleash hell kind of thing. I don't know that can happen here as we get in the medal round, right? It's a different animal. Rubio's played really well. FIBA rules seem to work for him better than most.
I mean, it's insane how good he is in the Olympics versus when you get him on the court.
But that's it.
What just happened, man? Really? Seriously?
Hey, man, guys prosper under different sets of rules. Adapt and survive. And that's what
he didn't adapt at all. He came over. He got
take paid.
Over.
He doesn't matter.
He's going to take over the NBA. Ricky Rubio's going to be so great. It was, all right, give him a little bit of time, He's scoring 10 points a game. Wait a minute. Ricky Rubio's supposed to give us no, he's going to score 10 points a game. That's what Ricky Rubio does. Okay.
And for his career, Ricky, he's over $120 million of earnings. Boom! Spike for him.
You know, but look, here's the thing about this. We talked about this a few minutes ago, is that this game is now available on Peacock Plus. It's also available on the the NBC Olympic app if you want to watch this through the app, right? So when we talk about here's Peacock, holding this game hostage, here's NBC holding this game hostage for you. We went through that a few minutes ago, trying to squeeze money out of you and getting it. It's not only about that. The rest of the conversation is that NBC has done an absolutely craptastic job listing programming and making it easy to find for viewers, right? Because that's the one thing you can control. Listen, you want to make the programming easy to find. Like you turn on at night and you see, all right, we got 4 different channels. You see, okay, USA, and it says archery, badminton, swimming. Well, I'm going to stay on USA because I want the swimming. And so you stay on that, you're waiting, because, they go in and out of events, and then you find out, no, the swimming's not there. The swimming's actually on CNBC. Right. And you don't know that. And so you wind up missing events. I don't know how that happens. I mean, I get that there's things that happen, and, okay, this event's going to start a little bit later for something else, but, put something on the bottom of the screen. Give me a ticker that says, hey, swimming will be shown on CNBC at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Katie Ledecky's chance for a gold medal. Give me something where I can understand where to go get the Olympics, because that's the big epic fail that's gone on, is that I don't know where to go for all of these things. Like, you figure, okay, I'm going to turn on the TV and watch USA Spain. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to turn on, you're going to try to find it. You're not going to know where it is. Why is it not on? Then you're going to spend time getting on the internet trying to figure out where it is. Okay, it's Peacock Plus. Do I have Peacock Plus? No, we don't have that. Wait, I got to watch the Olympic app that NBC has. Hang on. Okay, wait, I don't have that. I got to download the app. Then I can watch the game. You've made it so difficult for viewers to watch. And that's the whole thing, is that we are in a point in human history where we're not going to jump through hoops for stuff. Like, people, if they can't find a game within the first couple of minutes, I'm on to something else, right? The biggest NBA fans in the world are going to say, you know what, screw it. I'll just keep track of it online. I'll try to find some kind of, bootleg broadcast of it to see if I can see anything of it. People aren't going to wait and go through stuff and go, no, I got to find the game. If it takes me a half hour, I'm going to find that app. I'm going to download it. No, people are going to say, I don't get it. I'm moving on. All right. We need more convenience, not less. And that's what NBC has done with these Olympics. And while they've been a good Olympics, and I understand there's only so many things you can do when you are broadcasting from, halfway across the globe, and there's a 14-hour time difference, and streaming does well for you. I mean, I completely get all of that, but at least make it easy for me so I know where I can go get this. So when I want to go get it, I can go do it. And NBC's done horrendous job at that. I mean, look, you go every night, go to NBC or CNBC or USA. Okay, I'm getting this. Oh, wait, they haven't shown this, so I'm nervous because I haven't seen it. So let me go try to see if I find it someplace else. And then I'm on to something else. Is it over here? Is it here? And now I'm not enjoying the Olympic, the whole aspect and process of it, because I'm trying to find what I want, because I can't trust that what you're telling me on TV is going to happen is going to be on.
No, that's it. And I get it. There'll be programming changes to where you're flipping between all these different parts of your giant spider web of networks. So it means I may run into wrestling where I wasn't expecting wrestling, or insert sport here. But, you've got schedules for everything else. I got to imagine you can have an intern that updates those for you, right? And here it is. You can always check here to what we're showing live right now, or tape delay, as it were. In regards to the men's basketball side of things, as we talked about a little bit earlier, right, is Peacock Plus and pay for, and you're trying to test new models. I get that. There's a big deal yesterday made. John Skipper, former big exec over at ESPN, making some noise about saying, hey, eventually the Super Bowl will be pay-per-view, which is a curiosity. But that's one that everybody will watch, and it's in a window where everybody's up. Here you got a game starting at 1 a.m. Eastern. So what's the size of that audience to begin with? And as I argued at the end, why would you not just increase your ad rate for your streaming product? As that's, people are watching on their iPads and phones anyway. So why not figure that part out? In terms of making sure you get your nut. Like I'm the rare guy that's just gonna laugh and say, hey, greed's good. I'll go Michael Douglas with you with Gecko. I don't care that they're trying to get $5 out of me, but the rest of it is, all right, make it accessible, right? Where you're not jumping through a bunch of, no, connect to my cable provider, or do this, that, the other, and making you, as you said, trying to find your favorite. Maybe it's not men's basketball that's on the premium, but it's the other stuff you're trying to watch. That's what people pay for, convenience, right? In everything, fast food, why there's so many different services for people to bring you your food and everything else. Why? Because we love just people handing it to us. Same thing here. Make it nice and easy. People will jump in. But when it's in the middle of the night, I think trying to squeeze the dollars here, I'd love to see what the final experiment brings. I don't fault the process and the line of thinking. It's the execution and deciding that this was going to be the event to try to launch that part of the process.
Yeah, look, and again, I get that if you want to try to launch it, right? That was a great thing. Hey, that was a great idea. Hey, increase your ad revenue for it. Here's the ad revenue for that. I'm sure when they sold ad revenue for USA Spain, they sold it for more money. But there's clearly ways around it. But at least let me know. All my Twitter feed now is filled. How am I watching this game? What's the score? What's going on? No one can figure it out. Right. And this is where NBC, they know this is the marquee event, that the West Coast, everybody's going to watch it because it's on in prime time. Right. So half the country or a third of the country, you're going to get great numbers on it. Just make sure people know where to get it. But there's been no push of, hey, you can get it and get it. There's been none of that. And when you piggyback that with the fact that you can't find other events that are on TV. In fact, when my friend texted me, he says he was trying to find an event he couldn't find. He goes, all I'm finding in France is kayaking and chain smoking. And I couldn't stop laughing because I'm just picturing chain smoking.
Is that an event?
An Olympic event.
Yeah.
Just guys smoking as fast as they can, and then
you'd have to set
the other end.
But think about setting odds on it. You got to go through a bunch of health studies and figure out the rate of an incidence of smoking and per capita, what kind of cigarette and other smoke products.
Here's Jack Williams. He can smoke an entire cigarette in one drag.
Well, no, that's like
ago.
that's like competitive eating, right? You've got guys that are going, over a 10-minute block to see how many, but then you have the one time, like the clean and jerk, weightlifting event. That's it. One time.
You're going to watch here, Italy lets the cigarette go out, and they need the lighter to light the next cigarette. That is a 5-point automatic penalty as they move on to the chain smoking.
You've gone off the deep end. I can see. This is like all the movies where you could see the little cartoon playing in the guy's brain. That's what's happening with you right now. And as I'm sitting here in the Fox Sports Radio studios, a couple of our monitors turned to Olympic events. I mentioned wrestling and then a replay of U.S.-Canada from, the 1 a.m. Pacific time start this morning. I've seen really no mention of, by the way, here's a lower third banner, right, at the bottom of your screen, folks, the lower third, to just say, hey, if you're looking for the men's basketball game, here's how you find it. Like, there's been no mention. Like, they're not scrolling anything to give you information of where to find other programming. You don't like this event and how it's progressing? Here. Move here. Or go to this website for a series and schedule of events. It's poor execution. Got to be better than this. It's a multi-billion-dollar property.
It is. And I can't believe certain things that either pass I don't want to say pass inspection, but pass through so many different levels of, this is okay. You want people to watch your product, right? I want people to watch this, so I'm going to, I would watch chain smoking. I really would.
I think we all would. As a guy I grew up in, my parents smoked until, some illness and they didn't. But we always had the issue where all our clothes smelled of smoke. But if I could legitimately just watch people do it and I don't have to be in the room and inhale it, the hell with it. Go for it. Like you're now in the smoke chamber. It's like the Octagon on steroids. Like the little smoking room in in airports, right?
Yeah, where you get to go. When you open that door and you go, oof, wow, what
the hell's that guy smoking?
No, then you get a special iPad that allows you to get smells. You press that button, you can get the smell of the smoke.
But it's all sponsored. Yeah.
I feel like I'm there.
Here, order in advance so we can send you the different smells so you can inhale like you're really there.
Up next, men's chain smoking.
Who would be the favorite? I think that would be an SNL skit. There's no question.
I can't. I'm crying right now. I'm laughing so hard. Oh, and that takes away the pain of the United States, who's getting drilled right now by Spain. 40-29 with 3 minutes to go of the second quarter. Spain on a huge run. Still, Ricky Rubio with 13 points leading the way for Spain. We will have more on this game and more if they start chain smoking. I mean, that would be that's another one we would kind of really watch.
Be sure to catch live editions of The Jason Smith Show with Mike Harmon weekdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on Fox Sports Radio and the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, this is Jason McIntyre. Join me every weekday morning on my podcast, Straight Fire with Jason McIntyre. This isn't your typical sports pod pushing the same tired narratives down your throat every day. Straight Fire gives you honest opinions on all the biggest sports headlines, accurate stats to help you win big at the sportsbook, and all the best guests. Do yourself a favor and listen to Straight Fire with Jason McIntyre on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Transportista is a podcast that tells the story of a pilot who, using a clandestine cell phone from inside a prison in North Carolina, claims to have worked as an entrepreneur and air logistics coordinator in the international drug trade for some 30 years.
I'm Transportista. That's what I am.
My name is John Gibler. I'm a journalist based in Mexico. I was approached to see if I would be interested in looking to this pilot's story. Yeah, I said, I'm interested. I contacted a number of reporters who had either met, interviewed, or reported on this pilot.
He didn't want to tell the truth, he wanted to sell the truth.
And began to piece together a portrait of a man behind bars, obsessed with telling and selling his own story. From Detective and Exile Content Studio, this is Transportista. Listen to Transportista on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
iHeartRadio presents.
That's the scene right now from Los Angeles, which hours ago suffered the largest earthquake in North American history.
A new dramatic thriller.
As far as we can tell, the earthquake somehow raised a new landmass out here.
Starring Sarah Wayne Callies.
I gotta get out there. That's my girl.
We're spread as thin as we...
but she's out there on that island.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
There are corpses all over the Southland. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a natural disaster.
And David Harbour.
It's dangerous out there.
I don't care. I have to go get her.
All right, I get it. You want company?
You'll go to the island?
Aftershock.
What did I tell you? This is a good place. People find each other here.
There are 24 dead bodies rotting in a pile and 2 survivors.
You're sure that there's 8 volunteers willing to get shot before the rest of you can stop us?
Cassie, get the gun.
Aftershock. Listen and follow on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The economy is confusing, and it can be hard to know what to do with your money when things feel so volatile. So crack open your notebooks, because Planet Money Summer School is here to help you master the basics of investing. I'm your host, Cardiff Garcia, and we've brought in world-class professors to answer questions like, is it better to buy a lot of one stock or a little bit of a lot of stocks? What are bonds? And is it ever too late to start investing? Listen to Planet Money from NPR on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You want a hot take?
Let's go.
This is something you couldn't say for 20 years, but you can say it now, and it's accurate. U.S. men's soccer in better shape than U.S. women's soccer.
Whoa.
U.S. MNT, better shape than U.S. women's national team. Now think about it for a second. Not just because of the result yesterday in the Gold Cup, right? But you think about where both of these teams are headed, right? We watched yesterday, or at least I didn't know, a lot of people did.
Yeah.
The United States, their C team, goes out and beats Mexico to win the Gold Cup.
What Mexico, we know so many people that were there, too.
Oh,
I was amazed by all friends are like, hey, here we are. It's like, hey.
Oh, it was
65,000 people or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was well, and you know, 3/4 of it was like a Mexico home game, right? Because they came up, they were all cheering, going crazy, and it was a great effort. And Mexico brought their A team. And again, this was our C team. You may see 1 or 2 of these players overall on the United States World Cup team. All the best players the United States has, they're all in their early 20s. A lot of them missed this tournament. They didn't play, but that's the way it goes. They're all in their early 20s. Everybody, whether it's Christian Pulisic or Weston McKennie or Dest or Reyna, Tyler Adams, they're all young. The era of men's soccer that we've been waiting for is coming, and we're going to breeze through qualifiers qualifying for the World Cup. And we're going to have a great 2022, and we're going to be a threat to win it all in 2026 when all our players are in their mid-20s and they're at their peak. Right? That's what we've been waiting for this for men's soccer for a long time, and it's here. And I mean, with a C squad, we're able to win that game, yes, and it could have been 3 or 4-0, but a couple of crazy plays, good defensive plays by Mexico, they could have won. Now, compare this to the United States women's team, which we've been telling you, enjoy this run, and now it's over, because the next time you see the women's national team get set for qualifying tournaments, it's going to look a hell of a lot different, because what you saw in these Olympics is you watched the team get old overnight. And that's how it happens, right? When teams get old in sports, it doesn't happen over the course of a year or 6 months. It happens, bang, wow, they got old overnight. And that's exactly what happened in the United States. The entire tournament, they had rings run around them by all the other teams. Well, maybe they were tired because the conditioning was a bit. How does that explain the loss to Sweden that started the Olympics? Well, we're playing too many games back-to-back. There's too much quick of a turnaround. You should have been at your highest level playing against Sweden. They gave the older players time off. Rapinoe came into the game late. Alex Morgan came to the game late. It didn't matter. You watched the United States not get any separation against the other teams. The other teams were younger, they were faster to the ball, and they outplayed us. We didn't play a good tournament at all. And when you point to 5 different games, you can say, look at all these games we didn't play well. Even Megan Rapinoe said after the game today, I don't know why. I don't know why we played so poor. I can't put my finger on it. Because they just got old. They got beaten to the ball. They were not fast enough. They needed younger players, younger legs, and now you're at a time of transition because all the great players, which is a shame because the last 10 years have been this group of women. It's been Rapinoe and Alex Morgan and Tobin Heath and Carly Lloyd and all these great players that we feel like we know because we see them all the time, and it's been such a constant for like nearly a decade. But now that's over because Rapinoe's 35 and Carly Lloyd's going to be 40, and you got Alex Morgan and Tobin Heath and Kristen Press. They're all 32, 33 years old. They're not going to be coming back playing a lot. You look at this next team, it's going to be Megan Rapinoe's going to be playing like Carly Lloyd. She's going to come in for the last 15 minutes of a game if we need her, right? Alex Morgan may be someone who comes off the bench because she can't run. We're going to need all new scorers, all new strikers. Defense, really, you could see they got slow and they got old overnight. This is not going to be the same team. You're going to have a big turnover right now on this women's national team because they absolutely have to have it because they look like a team. It's just like in the NFL. It looks like an NFL team at the end of the year, boy, they were slow. They need young legs. They got to get faster on defense, right? That's something you can normally see. And that's kind of what watching this event, if you watch U.S. women play, they got knocked off the ball. They just weren't the same because they got old. Their reaction wasn't the same. Being able to get distance and separation, it wasn't there. So now the next time you see the United States women play, when it really matters, you're going to see a lot of new names come in, and it's not going to be where, the old names are going out and we'll see them again when it's time for a big event. It's going to be the old names go out and you gradually just won't see them come back. And it's going to be all new names and new people coming in and new younger players. You need that new generation of players. And that's why you can say, okay, if I'm looking at the next 4 years, the immediate future, the United States men's team is in great shape. They're going to be big-time favorites to win a lot. And the women's team is going to be, it's kind of transition. Maybe we'll be really good because we produced the world's best soccer players, but are we going to be as good as other teams that maybe are at their physical peak that are younger and more experienced? I mean, we're not going to be what we have been for the past decade.
Yeah, I think as we look at it, you mentioned a number of the principles, right? And you go all the way down the line, and Naylor in goal, she's going to miss the bronze medal match. But you look at the number of matches they've played as members of the team, and we're talking many of them upwards of 130, 140. So for as much as we've watched these last several Olympic cycles, it's time for new blood. You'd like to think, hey, you've got a system that will feed you the next generation that's ready to come in. But we've also watched the women's soccer world, the world catch up, right? Much like we've talked about with the men's national team in basketball. It's not the same level of dominance, right? You've got teams that are even pushing you, even in the games you won. They were not walkovers as they might have been in years past. A lot more stressful minutes, as we like to talk about here on the show. And questions of Vlatko Adanovsky coaching, right? His lineup substitutions and how they proceeded there. So questions, will he even though he went undefeated in it for a year and a half, will he be the guy that's calling the shots, and will he be replaced? So when we talk about who's in better shape, yeah, there's actually a picture with some clarity of the men's team. Does it necessarily get to your heights? I hope from your lips to God's ears and the soccer God's ears that we have that rise up that we've been waiting on here in the States for, hell, as long as I've been watching sports, right? Waiting for that big push and surge. And some of the names that you've mentioned between McKinney and Pulisic, those are guys that people are watching on the international stage, for the teams they've appeared for, as well as trying to wait on the men's national team to rise up. So yeah, there's more clarity because you can at least put a few of those names in and put those in ink and say, all right, let's build around. As for the women's team, yeah, it's pretty cloudy. You got a couple of players that were in this cycle that'll be kind of that next round of mainstays, and now it's finishing out the remaining 11 and the reserves. There's going to be a lot of turnover for sure. You got a number of the women are new moms, right? Age and life changes. A lot of discussion, not just from the women's national team, but obviously this Olympics being different, that the families couldn't accompany them. So the sacrifice is there, and truly it becomes for a lot of people, women especially, but also for some of the male athletes, like, all right, as you get a little bit older, are you as fired up, right? Because Megan Rapinoe talked about there not really being the joy. And I don't know if that's a crowd thing or just they never got into their zone, but that it wasn't there for this Olympics. How do you get that back?
At Acuity Insurance, we believe the things you do for your business are heroic, and you deserve someone equally heroic to protect them. We put our all into covering your business so you can focus on the things you love most. That's the power of heart. Acuity Insurance, wholeheartedly for you.
I'm Robert Evans, host of It Could Happen Here, a podcast about the possibility of a second American Civil War. Well, now I've written a novel, After the Revolution. It's set 50 years in the future, in a Texas racked by civil war. It follows 3 characters, a fixer named Manny leading reporters through the war zone, a young extremist named Sasha determined to join a militia called the Heavenly Kingdom, and an old veteran named Roland with a body full of U.S. Army cyberware and a head full of missing memories. Listen to After the Revolution on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. All chapters of After the Revolution are out now in audiobook form and on atrbook.com as an EPUB.
Remember Kathy Comics? The funny page classic that featured Kathy struggling with work, self-esteem, and relationships? My name's Jamie Loftus, host of Lolita Podcast and My Year in Mensa, and I wanted to take a look back at Kathy Geiswhite's day-to-day chronicle of American womanhood starting back in the 70s. And yes, I'll be speaking with Kathy herself. So listen to ACCast by Jamie Loftus, that's AACKCAST, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.